Hello and welcome to another Fermanagh Modelling EC. We have quite a few modelers in the house tonight. So in the house tonight we have Steph, we have Mark, we have Captain Pugwash, and we have John. So what we're going to be doing today is going around every modeler to see what they've been building at and what they have been doing over the last few days. So we will start off with Mark.
Mark, you have to come off mute before you can talk.
My apologies, I didn't realise I was on mute. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, lads. As you can see, progress has been made even more on the Mark 1B Airfix 124th Typhoon. Structurally, pretty much all complete. Fuselage and wings all bolted together. At the moment, just going on painting the exhaust stubs, which are drying as we speak. And then the next stage after that is the engine fairings and air intake fairings. I'm trying to work out a few things.
Very nice, Mark.
It's coming there. It's coming.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, progress should be fairly rapid now because all the intricate work has been done.
Yeah.
But we shall see. Coming on nicely.
Yeah. So who do you think we should go to next, Mark?
Oh, I'd say John.
Me? Always saying like this. I'm doing Wee Man. Oh, there we go. That's better. He's a large bust of a World War II Marine Commando. Doing it for my son, who is actually a bootneck. And I'm just in the process of putting some straight paint on it before I start doing blending and things like that. That's me.
Nice, John. Who do you think we should go to next, John?
He's up in the top corner. It'll be the Steph.
Steph.
Hello. How you doing?
The very best, thank you, Steph. What about yourself?
Yeah, I could complain, but it's not bloody worth it.
No.
Well, this evening, I mainly be playing with dragons and stormtroopers. So there's me stormtroopers. You've got to finish off the black on those four.
Nice.
And there be dragons.
He's red.
Yep, they'll soon be black. And then he'll have a zenith highlight, but he's staying red.
Right.
He'll be red and gold.
Right.
So, yeah. That's what I'm going to be working on tonight.
Nice.
So, let's go to Captain Pugwash.
Hello. I am sticking with the desert theme. You see that? Tamiya 135th Valentine.
Yeah.
And I have the wheels will fall off if I'm not careful because they're not stuck yet. But I am pretty much, I'm just trying to get it in the light. Hang on. That's better. So the body's painted, and the way that the sand skirts are an integral part of the body, I'm going to have to put tracks on in a minute, and then give it a wash, and then carry on building the rest of the body up. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get inside and get to any of it. But it's a lovely little kit, it just falls together. I have got a 176 scale Valentine to go with it, and it's an old Fujimi kit, but it's really warped, and I sort of gave up with it. I can't even glue the hull together. It just won't stick. It just keeps coming apart. So I might have to put it in a bit of water, straighten it out, and then do it that way. But yeah, it's a lovely little kit. It's got a weird track structure though. They're broken up into about 12 pieces per track, which is really odd. But that's what I'll be doing. But yeah, I really like those. These old tanks got a nice little bit of character, haven't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, do like them.
Rob,
But, yeah.
if you can't get it to stick with glue, and putting it in hot water doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Super glue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But do it bit by bit by bit by bit.
Yeah.
Don't do it all at once.
Yeah. I was doing it with tape to start with, and I got frustrated with it. So, because obviously the parts are tiny, and I thought I'll go back to it when I'm, in a better mood for it. I will do it. I just want to compare them because it's a massive difference between 176 and 130. It's unbelievable. But and the detail's quite good on the Fujimi one. It's not too bad. Decals I'm going to steal from the Rubicon spares because they're shot. But yeah, I quite like these. I mean, I've seen the Tamiya stuff that Gary's done, Land Rovers and stuff. They do go together really well, don't they? And there's some nice tanks out there with interior as well. I think the Matildas are a bit more money, but you can actually open the hatches. They're big hatches, so you can actually see inside the driver's compartment and stuff. I think that'd be quite a good one to do. But I really want to do the old Pink Panther and I don't know if it's like a long base Land Rover, but it's an ambulance one. It's probably 70s, 80s sort of era.
Yeah.
That's the 81. It's made by Tamiya.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually waiting on that one to come. It seems to be a nice. Well, it is a Land Rover, so not enough. I would have.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah. But it seems, from what I've been reading up about it, Rob, it does seem to be a great kit. You know what I mean? From what I've been reading up on about it and what's seen on YouTube tutorials and stuff, yeah, there's a lack of injector pin mark stuff like that there, but it doesn't seem too bad for the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you get the stretchers and all that sort of stuff, don't you, and everything inside.
Yeah.
Just fancy doing a few ambulances because it's all blood and guts. I thought I'll get some ambulances in play as I did the old medic thing down the Falklands. I thought I'd do some of those. The other one was the Gamma Goat thing. I don't know if you know it, the Tamiya kit. It's like a very light utility vehicle, American one. But they really, yeah.
That was used in Vietnam.
Yeah, well, they've got a re-release of that, but it's an ambulance one.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, that's me. Yeah, let me do some ambulances. I looked at it.
Thank you, Rob. I'm going to read out a few comments here.
You want me to
Please, staff, would you, please?
Not a problem. We've got Jean Maguire. Hi all. Clive watching.
Hi, Clive.
Williamson. Hi, Clive. Lewis Williamson. Hello all. Hi, Lewis.
Hello, Lewis.
Evening.
Noel McElfatrick. Hi, boys. Everyone okay? All good, thank you.
Yeah.
Very well, thank you.
We've got Lewis Williamson. What's Steph and Gary working on? 1350 paper battle chips? No.
No.
Quick answer. There you go. Tom Stout, enjoy your evening, guys. Thank you very much, Tom. You too.
Thank you, Tom.
Quickly before we go to Gary, let's just bring Dave in.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Oliver. That's a very clean bench.
It
Oh,
is, isn't
yes.
it? Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how long that lasts.
2 minutes.
Not long.
Dave,
Yes, Gary?
thank you, Steph.
Okay.
Dave, what are you working on?
I am working on the Bandai Boba Fett, I've decided. I was going to work on the post-apocalyptic diorama, but I can't figure out quite how I'm going to paint it yet. So I think I'm just going to have some nice, simple paint job on this figure. Excellent. Again, can't recommend these Bandai kits enough.
Yeah. Nice looking, Dave.
There we go. So yeah, so that's what I'll be working on.
Nice.
Secondary to you.
Yes, Steph. I am working still on my Cobra. I got most of the
Nice.
decals.
Looking
Size
good.
of the thing.
Yeah, I have to say, Steph, your oops, that one there first, Steph.
Yeah.
It does work very well because it does go into the creases very well. So that's what I'm working on. Going on a couple of washes on it this evening. I'm going to be using Blue Grey by Mig, and doing a few bit of touch-up paint work as well. So that's what I'll be cracking on with this evening.
Cool. We've got a comment there. David McElhenney. Hi, guys. Good to see you all. I like the Tamiya kits as well, Rob. They are nice.
Evening, Davey.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, they are. I'm really impressed with them. Thing is, I could never afford them in the 70s when I was a kid. So, yeah, it's nice to be able to get them now. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, that was, I think, I remember getting my first Tamiya kit, must have been 1980, 81. The same one that Davey McElhenney's just done. I remember my mum taking me to buy at the local model shop. And she said, now, this is all you're going to get for your birthday. You're not getting, you know, because they were about twice the price of the Airfix kits. But I remember making it and thinking, wow. So this is what scale modelling is all about. Because it actually fitted together.
Thing is, Dave, they're that good, and they're still those kits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I keep one of these years. I'm going to remake that kit just out of interest. Just you know, and as I said, I dare say, and they've updated it as well a little. But yeah, they're great kits. Yeah.
I can't believe they're bringing out new ones as well, and they're absolutely highly detailed interiors and everything. And
yeah,
I thought when he died, I thought he wasn't gonna. They were just gonna keep reselling what he made.
Yeah, but there was. It's interesting. There's a YouTube channel that's worth watching called Max's Models, and he does he's done his history of all the big modelling companies. And he said it's apparently in Japan, a lot of the businesses, it's very much a family business passed down from generations to generations. So he said that can work one or two ways, because I can't remember, there was one of the model companies, he said basically the founder, the old man, died and there was no one really to pass it on to, and it kind of fell by the wayside. But I think Tamiya, the family are kind of committed to it. So, yeah, seem to be keeping things going.
It is amazing to see where he started. That little sort, it's like a shanty town that he worked in.
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
No, they're. But then, having said that, they released. I think when I remember one of the nicest kits I've built since I've been back in the hobby was the Mark 1 Spitfire they did, and they released a brand new tool of it last year. And when they asked them why they did it, they said, "Oh, it's competition from Airfix." And you think, just 10 years ago, you would have never thought that would be the case. But Airfix were actually giving Tamiya a run, forcing Tamiya to up their game, not the other way round.
So what kit's that? Is that the 1/48th one, is it, or bigger?
Yes, yeah, that's it. I mean, I built it about 10 years ago. I thought it was an excellent kit. But obviously Tamiya, some of the purists will say there's a little bit of an issue with the shape. The fuselage is a bit too broad, but looked all right to me. But apparently it wasn't good enough for Tamiya with competition from Airfix, so they made a brand new one.
Oh, unbelievable.
Well, the thing is, that's only good for us.
Yeah, that's competition. If they're but I guys think it's great that as I said, when I was a kid, you bought Airfix kits because they were cheap and they were available, not because they were any good. I think most of the Revel, the US Revel stuff in the 70s was pretty atrocious as well. That was now. Yeah, it was US Monogram, Tamiya Revel Monogram, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That blooming awful silver plastic they used to use.
I never really liked Airfix stuff.
No.
Nah.
Even when I was starting out, I was never really an Airfix boy. It was always Tamiya. And then I got on to Dragon. But if anybody is looking to make Land Rovers, the best ones out there are Hobby Boss. They are the best.
Every time he drags the conversation round bloody Land Rovers.
But Rob was talking about getting a few Land Rovers there, and I'm only trying to keep them on right. Go to Hobby Boss. They are the best.
You're talking about Airfix and Tamiya.
Oh, sorry. Okay. But I just thought I'd throw that one in there anyway, just in case anybody's looking at Land Rovers.
I'll give you a bit of support. I'll give you a bit of support, Gary. The Hobby Boss aircraft I've done have been brilliant.
Yeah, but it's not a Land Rover, Rob.
It was being pulled by a Land Rover somewhere.
Hey, Rob, you were talking about you're going to make a Pink Panther.
I saw one today when I was looking at the auction, and I got interested to see what Tamiya did in tanks, and it cropped up, and I thought, it actually is pink, isn't it? Like the Pink Panther show. And I thought,
no, it's not. No.
It looks, on the box, it looks pink, and I thought, surely it's not that pink.
No, it's not that pink. Rob, if you are buying, don't go for the Revell Pink Panther.
It's Tamiya one, it was.
Yeah, out of the two of them, Revell or Tamiya, if you ask me, I'd be going for the Tamiya one day and night. The Revell one is absolutely atrocious.
Really?
Yeah.
That's that's probably the Revell one. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a Reebok Stitolari kit.
Oh, Italy! Every single one of those I've ever had, they were the ones I used to chuck in the bin. I've never finished one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But I think I learned what was the old molds and what's the new one. A bit like Airfix, isn't it? Like the vintage range and the new stuff.
I mean, I made their gun truck, and it was yeah. I mean, it was out of the box. It was an okay, slightly simple kit. It all fitted together. I mean, the ladder chassis, there could have been issues if if it didn't fit. But yeah, I think as you say, it's like companies like Special Hobby. I mean, their early stuff is. I made their Avro Anson, and it was an interesting kit, shall we say? But their new stuff is excellent, apparently.
Staff. Staff.
Yeah,
You couldn't read them comments there, Staff, for me, please, could you?
of course I can.
You want me to do it? I'm not doing anything. Yeah, I'll get them.
Comment from David McElhenney. I find Wonderland models in Edinburgh are very keen for Tamiya models. Yeah, they're good there, David. And Lewis Williamson said, I like the old kits that don't fit together properly, but then again, I'm not keen on painting them. And there speaks somebody who's quite happy to build a 150th paper model battleship.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need a tutorial from him to how to build this thing, Lewis. Is it Lewis?
Yes.
Yeah. I think we need a tutorial on how to do paper build all the way through. Titanic or something like that.
Give people nightmares.
Yeah.
I'll leave that in the corner just as a reminder.
I saw someone build a mosque of all things at combat stress out of paper, and to be fair, it didn't look like it was made of card and paper.
Yeah, there's a special. Some of the shows there's a paper modeler club, and a guy did a Stuka on there, and it was only when you look really close up that you realise it's a paper model.
Yeah.
Lewis, I'll keep an eye on the comments if you want. Lewis said, I'll do a tutorial just as soon as Steph, Gary, Dave, Malcolm and James do one for me.
James.
David McElhenney said there's a paper battleship in the same league as a chocolate fireguard.
Yeah. I think we'd have Malcolm if he locked up in a padded cell if he does another one. Then with Malcolm, he perseveres with it, doesn't he? I don't know. Oh God, I set fire to it. Really. Fair play to him.
Paper and model should not go together.
No. I quite like that Cobra you're doing. Who made that? Besides you, who made the kit?
What kits?
Your Cobra.
Academy.
Because they were in Vietnam and that, weren't they? As well.
Yeah.
So, and that looks quite modern, that one.
It is.
Is that the Z version, Gary?
Yeah, it is, John. Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, that's modern.
Yeah. Were you Army Air Corps, John?
No.
Oh, no, I wasn't being rude. I remember somebody wasn't there, and I just wondered if that was your thing.
No. No.
Yeah.
I'll give you a clue.
Nearly is the same league as myself.
All right. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
You're a tanky then.
Yeah.
I just started the pause as I was trying to work out what tank it was. They all need to be, but I'm finding them really fascinating now.
That's the St. Avery.
I know, John. What do you expect, Neva?
Well, he used to be confined like we were, wasn't he? In confined spaces.
Oh, puppy. Oh, and the other one. I'm getting dogged again.
Mm-hmm.
What? What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find very, very baffling?
Mhm.
Life?
I was speaking to somebody today, and what baffles me is there's so many organisations out there, right? And they still cannot treat certain veterans and their families the right way. It baffles me completely.
I'll tell you what used to baffle me, when you used to have married quarters and the people that used to run them, the little jumped up shitbag that inspected them and that, used to treat you like shit. And that they were never up to that much of a standard in the first place.
Get rid of the dog. Are we still talking about Tamiya kits?
If you want.
Yeah.
What's the best one then?
Modelwagen. I
Oh,
like
yeah.
that great stuff. The problem is, it only comes with one figure. And he's nowhere near the gun because he's stood up and he's got binoculars. So I am trying to butcher some other figures to make some gunners. It should be fun.
Got a comment here. David McEhenny says the secret is keeping everything simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like it if you've got to struggle with a kit because it doesn't fit and you have to fill it and modify it loads to get it to work. You should be able to make, you can make them complicated enough and endurable without causing you grief.
Don't ever build a Revel 1/32 scale F-18 in that case.
Is that what yours was?
Yes. Yeah.
They come out really good, that though.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think we were saying. I was talking to a mate of mine. Problem is, it was developed right in the middle of when Revel went bust.
Yeah.
Because it's first announced at the 2016 Nuremberg Toy Fair. And you can almost see where they just at the point where they just said, right, we can't spend any more on this. We just got to release it. I mean, you could see, you could really, I was really, really careful during the construction. There were still major fit issues. If you just someone left in both feet first, you wouldn't be able to finish the model. It just wouldn't fit together.
Yeah. There was a Matchbox kit that came out in the early 70s, and it was they rushed to get it out before the actual aircraft was released, and it's one of these famous kits. I can't remember what it is now. It's a jet, but it's all wrong because it's what they thought it would look like, and it didn't come out like that.
Yeah.
I can try and find out what it is. Yeah.
Well, it's same with a lot of the kits. A lot of the Russian aircraft kits in the 70s were just a guess. I remember the Airfix MIG flogger was kind of caricature of the real things. They just didn't have the reference material.
No, definitely not the cockpit. I used to like their Foxbat.
Yes, yeah.
And it was big as well, 1/72, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, big old plane, huge plane, the Foxbat.
Saying about Gary, was on about Airfix. Even the new Airfix, I've got some brilliant kits, and they're really nicely moulded. But I find that the way that they connect the sprues to the actual parts, you've got to be careful not to cut great big chunks out. If you're a novice, you cut great big grooves out of half of it. They're really thick and spread into the part. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, that's. Yeah. I think it's where they do like the slide moulding technique with the moulds.
Yeah.
That's why they need the big sprue attachment parts, because it's a lot higher pressure apparently. So that's my only criticism of Meng models. They're much the same. They just get a decent pair of sprue cutters and shouldn't have a problem.
I've built an ICM Spitfire, and that was good. That had an engine, and all the bits come off, and a sword. If you built a sword, you don't get any pin lineup marks, and to be honest, you get a better joy.
Yeah,
because you can slide it around, so it's nice, and they'll do some rare stuff, don't they?
Oh, ICM, yeah, definitely.
I think it's them that does the Spitfire with a float plane Spitfire, which I never even knew existed.
Another comment. Another comment of Davey McEhenny. No room for little Hitlers.
Yeah.
The H word.
Whoops.
Yes.
We're still here. Maybe I've read youth on the end of it. That's what happened last time, wasn't it? Jackrabbit.
I don't get that. Because if you go onto YouTube, right, you will see plenty of references, for that man.
Yeah.
And why do they not take that stuff down? Because I find that more offensive.
I think the time before it was like, because there was a conversation about it, wasn't there?
Yeah.
That's probably, yeah. It sort of kept coming up, didn't it? Yeah.
Did you ever put something down and you can't remember where you put it?
Oh, never.
Seriously. I'm getting worse. Unless Julie's been down ramsacking down here when I haven't been about.
She's been hoovering up.
Probably has, as soon as you mentioned ironing board, saucepan.
Well, I did personally think that will be a very nice Christmas box.
Yeah. If you hid jewellery in the bottom of the iron box, that'd be a good one.
So what was Julie's Christmas box going to be then, Gary?
Oh.
Right. She loves the bake, right? Fair play to her. And I do love enjoying eating her bacon, right? Because that's why I am the size I am today. But that's not the point here. The point is, I thought it'd be a very nice gesture of me to get her a lot of bacon stuff, maybe a new Hoover, and maybe a new iron on the top of all that.
Nice knowing you, Gary.
Well, I did honestly one Valentine's Day, because I do not do Valentine's Day because it's a bad day for me. I did buy her an iron for a Valentine's Day present.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Is that how you got injured?
Don't like talking about that date. Me and that date do not get on.
sorry, fellas. Julie Owens, and they say romance is dead. Ha ha.
Well, I thought it was romantic.
Oh dear.
That years ago, I told you one of my students was on. He was on the Graham Norton show. Him and his brother were doing the drumming, and you're there for hours at the BBC. It's the most boring thing ever. But the warm up comedian they had, it was really funny, and he was like, he said it was the wife's birthday the other week. He said, I bought her a new bag and a new belt. The Hoover works lovely now.
Carpet monster, beat him.
So, have a comment, Julie Owens. Evening, gents. How are you all? I'm good, thank you, Julie.
Good, thanks, Julie.
All good, thank you, Julie.
Not too bad till I get off this, and I'll probably get a frying pan around the back of the napper.
But at least it'd be a nice, clean, new one.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Or at least we'll have an excuse to get her a new one.
Yes.
Does she bake like cakes and stuff, or is it just cooking generally?
Homemade pancakes, buns, scones, Cornish pasties. Do you want me to keep going, Rob?
No,
That's for Saturday night thing.
Laurie makes cakes, lots of cakes for people. So I actually did buy her a mixer for Christmas, but it was one of those American ones. They're about 400 quid.
You are?
Yeah.
You are?
It's 400 quid for a mixer.
Did you say £400 for a mixer?
Yep.
Well, not
Yeah, you can drive it all over the place.
Hey.
I think Julie deserves one.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, you've got me into enough trouble this weather.
But but Gary, think £400 mixer,
Yeah.
Yes.
£400 worth of accurate armour.
Or
Hey, Dave, that's going to happen anyway.
accurate armour. That's expensive, accurate armour, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where I saw my ambulance. It was like 60 quid. And it was 148. I thought, what?
So is that accurate armour or accurate armour? Because one of them's very cheap.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
the one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Dave. Cover your tracks. I like that.
Yeah. The cheap ones are the better ones, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Don't the rubbish expensive ones.
Not the really expensive Japanese accurate armour, which I wouldn't
No,
buy.
you've got the cheap Scottish ones. Oh dear. I've got one eye on the comments here, and I'm.
Oh, I see. She hasn't actually said whether she wants a new iron or anything yet.
No.
Maybe she's flicking through the catalogue now. If that's still a thing.
This is heartbreaking. I've got to take the airbrush and prime that Boba Fett figure. It looks really good just as it is, but
Where is he? What primer do you use for that?
Just to be on the safe side for this, I'm going to use just the Citadel Black.
You're right.
Because I just don't know how the plastic's going to react. So, problem with I don't see there be an issue, but obviously, I'd just rather be on the safe side and just make sure I don't, because the problem is some plastics you find that it kind of the paint never goes off entirely, almost the primer rather.
Yeah.
But normally I'll just use Tamiya rattle can primer.
Okay. I've been using that one shot, but I have to strip my airbrush every time I use it.
Yeah, that's the problem. I used to use the Owlclad, and it's great stuff, but yeah, as you say, it's not good on the old airbrush.
It forms a skin like thing, doesn't it? If you leave it too long.
I just think it doesn't do the seals or anything any good.
No.
I think, I use the Tamiya rattle can's great stuff. Then just yeah.
Come on. Oh, dilemma here. Can I still get the tracks in? If I do, I should be. I should go.
We have 4 people watching. Thank you very much, folks.
There's Tamiya for you. I've just dry fitted a piece, and it's really hard to try and get it back off, and I haven't glued it. So I'm not going to. Right.
Yeah. Do you get that Desert Fox link I sent you, Gary?
I did, Dave.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if I'd send it across to you. Yeah, that's a nice figure.
It is.
Is that the Desert Fox or a Desert Fox?
So basically, it's like just one of the it's like a bus, but it's like a obviously part of the the desert rats. And he's got a little desert fox in his like breast pocket, and he's kind of looking. It's really nice. You go on the ammo website. It's really nice. Really nice figure.
Yeah. That's where my granddad was in the war out in the desert, but an RAF medic, so I don't know.
Oh.
I know it's around Cairo and Tobruk and Alexandria, but then again, it's where they used to go in, wasn't it? From the Med, I expect. Oh. I've actually got his desert diary, but I can't read it. So I was going to get someone to decipher it and see what it says. But got little hand-drawn Christmas menus and all that sort of stuff. It's quite interesting, but you need somebody that's good at reading people's handwriting to work out what's said.
And my wife's grandfather was in the Navy.
Yeah.
Out in the Far East. And he always mentions, like, the majority of entries, it says at sea, or at scarp of flow. But he always said about me and his mate on, I think it was a Corvette, HMS Antelope.
Yeah.
He was always on about his friend Lofty, and tying the story in with his wartime photographs from Japan or whatever. He was a lofty fella. He was tall. Me and Lofty got fined for being drunk and late back on ship. Fined the day's pay and missed a week's rum ration, so to speak. And then it said there was a gap of about a week between entries, and then the next entry said at Leyte Gulf.
Oh yeah.
The following day it said Lofty killed by my side, hit by shrapnel, can't describe how I feel. And then that really brought it home to me. That was I had a lump in my throat with that.
Yeah.
Saying I'm going to donate my granddad's record. He was the captain of LST, and thought it's going to be, I want to hold on to them for a little while longer, but or put them on sort of like long-term loan. It's a museum down in Portsmouth got one, haven't they?
That's where I am down here.
All right. Yeah. So some pictures of him and his crew, and there's a letter. There was a friend of his that was a chaplain. This is like 1940, I think.
Yeah.
On another ship, and he's saying, he described this letter. He said, we're in the dock at Singapore, but the Japanese are taking it over. So anyway, no worries. On to the next. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they definitely didn't want to go into Singapore when the Japanese come in.
No, exactly. But he said in his letter, everywhere they tried to dock, the Japanese had overrun the dock. So.
You think of people moaning about being in lockdown and stuff. My granddad was out there for 3 years before he came home.
Yeah. I was thinking this earlier on, people moaning about having to wear a mask, and I'm thinking, right.
Do you ever think about the people that got captured in Dunkirk and they spent the next 6 years without coming home?
Yeah. I was just about to say, well, a friend of mine, his grandfather was captured in Dunkirk and spent 6 years in a German POW camp, and it wasn't, it was the commandant was a nasty piece of work. It wasn't, I think that was it. If you went to a camp and he was a decent commandant, you're all right. But he was, in a bad way when he was released.
Yeah.
Anyway,
makes you wonder whether they didn't have a good old revenge thing, but they didn't, did they? Nobody seemed to grab hold of the guards afterwards or anything and give them a good kicking or anything.
Yeah. But I think what he was, I've not read it, but my mate was saying, I think he was just unlucky, and there was some SS fanatic running the camp that he was in, something like that. And so they're pretty.
Made to work, I expect.
Yeah, and half starved as well, wasn't it? But
I can recommend a book by a guy called Eric Lomax. It's called The Railway Man, and it was done into a film a while ago.
Yeah.
With Colin Firth. That is an outstanding read.
Making like the Railway Man, yeah.
It makes the book, the film, look crap when you read the book, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Do you ever see the one about the magician that survived the prisoner of war in Japan, in the Far East, and he actually joined the magic circle, and he used to make eggs disappear, but what he was doing was getting the eggs for the lads. It's a true story. I actually met him. Acorn, I think his name is. That's another good book. Survived by doing magic tricks in the Japanese prisoner of war camp.
Well, you're saying that the first job I had, or one of the first jobs, was working the local car parks, and there was a couple there, and they must have been in their late 60s. They were just about to retire, and they're not nice old, nice old couple, but the husband was called Hans. And I remember one day we got talking, we just sat in the shed and we got talking. He said, I said, are you like Austrian? Or so I couldn't see his accent. He said, no, I'm German. He said, I was captured in Normandy. And he said, when I was 16, he said, I was in an SS division. This is like the end of the war when they were, and he said I was the oldest one, and they made me a corporal simply because I was the oldest one. And he said they were all chucked in the back of a lorry and driven to Normandy with some old soldier to keep an eye on them. And he said basically they just dropped us by the side of this road. The truck drove off, and this old boy, well, he said old boy, he's probably about 40, but he said he looked to his left, he looked to his right. He said, right, lads, he said, the Allies are over there, off you go. Yeah. Give me your, leave your rifles here and off you go. Yeah. And that was it. And he was in a prisoner of war camp in Malden, just up the road from Chelmsford. And his wife was a land girl, and that's where they met. They've been married ever since.
There's quite a few, isn't there, that stay, don't want to go back. There's nothing to go back to, was there, in some cases? And I know people say the Germans started it, but a lot of the books I read about the normal German army and not the SS, they weren't all lunatics, were they?
No. Well, he was just a kid, I mean, he was, as I said, they made him, he said the day he turned up, they made him a corporal simply because he was the oldest one there. He said everyone else was 14, 15.
But the SS tank divisions were only like teenagers, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. Towards the yeah, well, they reckon that's why, although the tanks were cutting edge, the crews didn't know how to use them, and that's why they lost so many. That was and same with the Luftwaffe. They had all these cutting edge fighter aircraft, but no experienced pilots to fly them.
Always amazes me how they had the flying clubs before the war in the 30s and 40s. And they were basically training future fighter pilots, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think there was a particular aircraft. Hey?
That's Deutsche Luftverbund. German Air League.
Yeah, clever though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and the rocket research, wasn't it? They were doing,
yeah,
in the 30s, all kinds of stuff. Well, there's an interest. The Tank Museum do some really interesting videos. There was one they did called Operation 1919, and it was the British Army's their plan for the following year, and it's basically they had the Sopwith Salamander, which was an armour, basically the first ground attack aircraft. That was going to come into service. They had on the British, there's a Mark 7 tank. There was basically an APC. And a heavier arm attack. So the idea was to, a coordinated attack. And obviously the war finished, and the handbook that this British officer had written from the tank regiment just fell in, was just forgotten about, apart from an officer in the German army managed to get a copy of it, and that's where the Germans based Blitzkrieg on. Crazy. Anyway. Right, guys, I've just got to mute because I'm going to be spraying something, but I'll keep my eye on the comments and that. Oh, I shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, some interesting stories, John, isn't there? I still read stuff about it now.
Yes.
Oh. Steph disappeared too. I just looked up to see what his little troopers are doing, and he's disappeared.
He's spraying.
Gary, is he all right?
Gary's on mute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. As far as I know, he's okay, yeah.
I just went to have a look at his things, and I keep looking up because he's painting them by hand, isn't he? And I've looked up, and he was there, and
he's gone.
Unless he's just dropped out for a minute.
But he said he was going to do spraying.
Yeah.
No, that was
Dave.
That Dave, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did the army learn to drive these APCs now? Boredom's gone, because the other day when I come home, there's a learner APC going along the road here with rubber tracks on, and they used to come from Boredom, but it's closed down, isn't it?
Could be anywhere.
Okay.
The Army School of Driving is at Leconfield.
Yeah, this is right down, just about 5 miles outside of Portsmouth, and I thought, where'd they come from?
No, they're in the driver school, Defence School of Driving is what it's called now, is Leconfield, East Yorkshire.
Oh, yeah, he got lost then, didn't he? He failed.
Just a tad.
They don't have shift as well, don't they?
Sorry?
They don't have move.
Was it a 432 or a Viking?
Oh, I don't know. I can tell you what ships we've got in the dockyard. I can't tell you
if it's a Viking, if it's got rubber tracks, it's Marines.
Ah, cool.
Is it was it two cabins linked together?
No, it was literally like a wedge on wheels on tracks. It looked to me like the ones they used to have in Borden all the time, because I couldn't believe it was that they were. Because it's a housing estate now, so I don't know where it come from. And it wasn't privately owned because they had the L plates on it, and you had the old yellow vested instructor on there. They're civvy instructors, aren't they? But,
It could be all. I mean, I know some companies put up 432s to get people their H licenses.
Oh, yeah.
Do that. There might be somewhere that wanted to do somebody's bought a private one and needs an H license for it.
It could be. Yeah, might be. I mean, there's loads of stuff like that around here. where we've got Southwark Village where they plan D-Day. There's loads of vehicle collections around here, so it could be. I know that's not that old, but we've got all sorts of collectors.
Right, gents, I want to knock it on the head for the evening.
Cool.
Okay.
Walkie cocky.
You go and buy a Hoover?
Sorry?
You go and buy a Hoover?
Oh, what?
Buy a Hoover?
No.
Why
Oh,
not?
Mrs. do that.
Why not?
No, up at stupid o'clock, so ready by to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheers, Mark.
Yeah.
I'll see you later, lad. Gary, I'll speak to you tomorrow at some point.
That's a
Yeah.
monster recline on your desk.
Thank you very much.
Right, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to call it a day as well. So,
No problem, John. Thank you very much for coming on.
It's,
pleasure.
I just want to know where Steph's gone. See you later, John.
Yeah, have fun. Cheers, my dears.
Okay,
Enjoy your
John.
day.
Bye-bye.
Where are they? There we go. Leaving studio. Goodbye.
Bye.
Worries me when people go off because you got everybody's getting old and got health problems. You think, well, why don't you just like fell over in his shed and pulled the plug out or something? Do you know what I mean? That's a bit dramatic, but he's always there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Him and Gary. That's it. Like the two comedians. They're not even giving each other shit tonight.
Eh?
You're not even giving each other shit tonight.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's just one of those quiet shows.
Yeah. I'm loving this tank.
That's good.
There's more to the old ones than the new one. I know the new ones are big and powerful, but these have got quite a lot of style to them and they've got bits everywhere. God knows what half of them are, but right.
We have a few comments here. Davy McEhanning, have to go. Thanks for the show, guys. No problem, Davy. We'll watch the rest on catch up. Yeah, not a problem, Davy. We'll be doing another about 20 minutes or so, and then we'll be calling it night as well. Malcolm, evening boys, what's the crack? All very quiet, Malcolm. What about yourself?
Yeah. It was Malcolm that gave me the Monster Hero through Malcolm, the Valentine, to be honest. So.
It seems to be a nice kit now.
Yeah, it just works. I've managed to get it together, and I think I can make the tracks, put the tracks in afterwards. Yeah, I can. I'm not going to put them on now. So, might be a time to stop it, and then let the glue go off and everything on the top. Yeah. Quite clever models, aren't they? Though you think it's just a box of bits and it ends up being something. It's quite clever. Whoever dreams up the kits.
Yeah. Going to read a comment here from Malcolm. All good, but really busy week. Looking forward to Sunday, to be honest. Yeah, Malcolm, you're not the only ones looking forward to Sunday. I've had a couple of busy days myself, and it does tire you out. People think it's easy doing, answering phones, trying to get people help and stuff. It's not as easy as people think it is. I spent most of the day on the phone trying to get things sorted out, and I've done maybe a half an hour to an hour on the helicopter earlier on this evening, just to get the head a bit of a clearance. When you listen to all the horror stories out there at the moment, it's not good.
Right, I'm back.
And Dave,
where's everyone gone? All right.
It's mental tiredness. It's just as much as physical tiredness, though, Gary, isn't it?
It is, because I had to get a few people sorted out today, and believe you me, it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is. You know, you think it's just a case of, posting out model kits, the boys sit down doing the models, but you don't realise the work that has to go in, looking after the other side of their health, like physical stuff, what their partners are going through, their wives are going through,
Yeah.
You're dealing with all that as well, and I didn't think it was going to jump as quickly as it has, and I'll be honest with you, it has jumped very, very quick, and a lot of work to be put in still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just...
But it's worthwhile, mate, isn't it? It's rewarded as well, isn't it? But you've got to look after yourself as well.
I was just about to say, yeah, make sure you look after yourself, Gary.
That's why I came down to the room today. You wouldn't believe it. And I just put on my favourite John Wayne film, sat down, done an hour or so on the helicopter, just to get the head cleared,
Yeah.
I was on the phone the other day for, 4 or 5 good hours trying to get things sorted out. And everybody thinks, it's a case of handing out a model kit, that's it. It's not that, you know what I mean? You're listening to these lads' horror stories, you're listening to other things, you know what I mean, with their partners and stuff like that there, and you're trying your best. You know what I mean? I can only do my best, and that's it.
Exactly, Gary. But it's knowing when, for your own sake, when to step away, and no one will begrudge you for doing that. No one will hold that against you.
It's not the case of there's Julie, she homes. Oh, not again. The phone's ringing again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Who is it now? To be fairness, I think all week, if I would have spent an hour with Julie, I would have been very lucky.
Right.
That's how busy I've been this week, and I can't wait the Sunday morning. I know that's a shame. I should be wishing my life away, but just to sit down with Malcolm on Sunday morning show, just no pressure, no stress, nothing to worry about. Only sitting there, doing a model kit.
Sure.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm doing it here as well, but you still have the added pressure of other stuff, with the guys.
Sure.
It's not as straightforward as people think, just starting up a modelling club for the vets,
Sure. Well, as you say, it's not just about making a model, is it?
No.
More to it than that, especially someone like yourself, who can relate to what these fellas are going through. I mean, all I'd say is, Gary, I with work, it was getting silly. Last Thursday, I basically, last work email I finished doing was 10 in the evening, and I'm like, great, I had something to eat and went to bed. And it's just, what I should have done is just turn my phone off at 8 o'clock in the evening and just gone, right, I'm going to do some drum packs, I'm going to make a model or something. Because the other issue I found is that if I'm working that late, I end up having to redo half the work anyway because I'm so tired. I'm not concentrating,
that's why I want to try to do this wee show to have faith. Because some of the vets have nothing to do now. I was asked to say could I run it to 8:30, say from 7 to 8:30 of a Thursday,
Sure.
because
Sure.
the vets are now, yourself, you're into the winter months, and you want to try to keep your mind as active as much. As I said, I listened to one man there this morning, and you know what? My heart went out to him, and I mean it went out to him, and also what I heard about a veteran's wife, a man who committed suicide about 5 years ago now.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's forgot about her now. Do you know what I mean? There's nobody calling up to see her, stuff like that. So I put a wee call in to see will somebody call around and see her, in the next couple of days or even beginning of next week. The vets are now starting to phone me up and telling me, look, Gary, this X, Y, and Z, and you're all you can do is pass on every message that you get, write it down, so I don't forget stuff.
Sure.
It's not the case of sitting down the bench anymore and actually sticking two bits of plastic together. At the moment, it's just from I get up in the morning, Malcolm could tell you from about, say, 9 o'clock in the morning to about 7 in the evening. The phone constantly goes. I'll phone up the guys every morning, make sure they're okay. You know what I mean? They don't really need much, you know what I mean? It's just to keep your interaction with the vets as well. Because at this time of the year, this is when the thing can really kick off.
Sure.
Because there's a young lassie that worked in a local bar here in Enniskillen. 19 years of age, committed suicide there during the week.
Oh, good heavens.
You know what I mean? So that just goes to show you how bad it really is. When you hear. Going to read out 2 comments here. Aye, mate, take care of yourself. Sorry, Malcolm. I had 3 meetings in a row yesterday. By the third one, I had forgotten about what was said in the first one. Hashtag learn to take notes. That's from Malcolm. Jean McGuire, Gary, you're the man from Clive. No, I'm not the man, Clive. It's you guys are the men, you know what I mean? That you are coming out and you are learning about how to cope with what we have in our heads, you know what I mean? It's amazing how some of these vets have come on, in the space of a couple of months. But now you're hearing horror stories from Craigavon, Portadown, Lisburn, Market Hill, Bassbrook, all them places. That's the sort of area I'm covering at the moment. And from Fermanagh, for me to travel from Fermanagh down to Market Hill is a good hour or so. And that's the sort of scope that we're doing at the moment, you know what I mean? For veterans, it's a big scope. So it is.
It'd be very easy for someone to think that they see you on here all the time. I've been to work all day and I see you on here again. You think you've been there all day?
Yeah.
You don't. I don't. But you could, couldn't you? You think, well, that's where he is all day.
Yeah. People think this is, easy. It's not easy. No. It's far from easy.
I think with you veterans out there as well, though, with all this COVID job losses stuff, that's making things twice as bad as well, isn't it?
It is. You've one combination after another. As I said, that per man I spoke to this morning. You know what? How can certain places say that they're looking after men? Yeah. I would love that to be answered. Because they're not. They're not looking after them. And that's the worst of it.
No. We all, as a staff at our place on Monday, we all agreed to take a 7% pay loss to make sure 8 people didn't get made redundant. And then today, the government's changed the whole scheme, and we don't even know if we can do that anymore. It just keeps changing all the time. I'm fine, but you've got other people. One couple work for us, and they're both working the same place. They might have to go. You think that's going to be one hell of an impact on top of everything else, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you feel like you've woken up in some crazy movie with all this going on, don't you? As well.
You do.
I don't know. It's just like, what's going on?
Well, so it'd be over at some point.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I think about it. But it's not going to be forever, is it? But it doesn't make it any easier day to day. But
I have 2 days at home, 3 days in the office. I've got to go 4 days after that. But every time I go in the office, you hear the same conversation. The reason that's happening is because people are actually worried sick.
Yeah.
I've got to pay my rent. I've got to do this. I've got to pay for my car. I've got to do this. And you think, I don't know. You know, they keep blaming Boris. I mean, I don't think he saw this coming any more than anyone else, did he?
Nobody thought this was coming.
No.
still, more time to make models, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think I see on Facebook friends of mine climbing the walls, you know, and you think, there's one or two of them, I said, look, you want a kit?
Yeah.
It's kept me ticking over nicely over the past couple of months, you know. So,
I gave a couple of mine just some lads up the road because their mom looks after young kids, you know, like a nursery.
mm-hmm.
And they're about 7 and 8, and I took some really old ones I had, Spitfires and stuff like that. They're a bag of poo, but they made them, and he said it was so nice to see them off, even though she's got glue everywhere on their clothes and stuff. But she said it was nice that they're not sitting in front of the TV.
Yeah, doing something constructive.
Yeah, because when we were kids, you had your TV time, didn't you? Then it was adult TV. It wasn't like 24/7 like it is now. So, you know, it's good. So I thought I'd try and get them involved. They liked it, but, you know, whether they're going to carry on, who knows?
Yeah. Well, we did a Shavas House, well, it's closed now, but where I used to volunteer, they did a family craft day. So all the activities that they offer the veterans, they did like wood turning art classes and obviously the model making.
Yeah.
And there's one little girl there, because you did a morning session, afternoon session. She did a Spitfire in the morning. She'd come back, she finished that, and I said, well, what do you want to do? Do you want another? So she built a tank, finished the tank. In the afternoon, she built a ship. And her dad kind of said, I'm really sorry, can we take something with us? I'm like, sure, there you go, you know. So yeah, she really, there's about 6 kids did it, and about 3 of them were asking, you know, where do you buy the kits, and you know, can we do it again and all that. So who knows? But I enjoyed it.
I'm sick of the haters saying the hobby's dying. I've never seen so much stuff that you never used to get coming out and being sold.
Well,
I wouldn't say it was dying.
Oh no. Well, I think we would go. Me were talking on here the other night. They reckon e-models. I ordered. This is around about April, May time, and ordered something. I got an email saying, you know, very sorry. We'll get it to you as quick as we can, but basically we had more orders in one day than we normally get in a week, and we're short-staffed because people are turning to stuff like this because they're at home. You know, there's a thinking, you know, So Hornby's. So if there's any silver lining to all this, Hornby's profits are they haven't been this profitable in about 10 years. So
Really?
oh yeah. Primarily because of Airfix. Airfix is basically keeping the whole thing afloat, pretty much. But even so, I think I think Hornby's starting to turn the corner. I think Corgi's not doing so well, and Scale Electrics, I think, is kind of not doing.
Scale Electric was actually. I live about 8 miles outside of Portsmouth. There's a place called Havant up the road, and in that estate, there's the biggest council-house experiment in the 70s. It's a nightmare over there. But that's where Scale Electric was invented. I found out the other day.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
People don't have that money to throw out on that sort of stuff. Like like the train sets, on the RC stuff, because people's going to be worried about their jobs. They're going to be worried about their income. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, the youngsters at work are telling me the new PlayStation games, when the new one comes out, the starting price for them is going to be 60 quid.
Yeah, and the console's £500, isn't it?
Yeah. And
imagine the Land.
Hey?
Imagine the Land Rovers you could buy for 500 quid.
Yeah. they go, you could say 30 quid for a Tamiya tank or something, but how many hours do you get out of that compared to a 30 quid budget game then?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, come the apocalypse, Gary, Northern Ireland, it won't be you'll be bartering in Land Rovers.
Yeah.
That'll be the official currency.
Yeah. Because at the moment, if I see them cheap, honestly, I buy a rake of them in.
Well, I tell you, I'm going to have to stop doing it because it's going to cause trouble. But I'm looking at that Action Man collectors page, and the price, some of the ceremonial uniforms are going for blimey O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Like Coldstream Guard, £500. I mean, that's original boxed, never been out of the box. But yeah, just for an average one, I reckon it's £250, £300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Triangle ships?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at those. The other thing I was looking at, I don't know how old you are, but in the 70s, the Airfix flight deck, super flight deck.
Oh yeah.
And I saw one of them and I thought, I'll get that off eBay just for a laugh. 75 quid, get out of it. Paying that.
And it was rubbish as well. I remember getting it for Christmas. And it was absolutely like, oh, the advert made it look really good. I remember it's just like, oh, okay.
It wasn't even as good as that thing in Flight the Intruder when they go over that alligator pit. Because that's basically what it is, isn't it? It's like a wire and you arrest the hook at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think the super one, you used to catapult it up and it used to turn around on a hook.
Oh, okay.
That was the super one. You didn't have to go and up there and stand. You could play on your own. Didn't need to.
Right. Yeah, no, I thought it was, 75 quid, good heavens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Action Man stuff has gone up again because I've been looking up a few other bits and pieces I'd like to get to finish off. Oh, boys, I would have to really justify spending some of that money at the moment.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff was good. We had the little scout car thing. I don't know if you remember that, the 4-wheeled Action Man scout car. We used to sit on that and go down the hill on it.
Yeah.
I've got one here in the living room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, don't worry. I have that. So I do. Going right to comments here. Gene McGuire, Gary, give you a ring later. No problem, Clive. Noel McAfatrick. The world has gone too fast and has no time for God or thy neighbour. Yeah. Nobody checks in on their neighbours anymore. You know.
But if it's good, if you want to hear some good news, we do here in our road.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do in ours actually, and it's good to
Like I mow next door's lawn. She's 94, so I'd be a bit of a git if I didn't. And next door, I'm making some bits and pieces next week. We'll keep an eye on the lady over the road. I think it depends where you live.
Yeah.
I don't mean in the country, just what street you're in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think some of the youngsters are selfish, and then some of them aren't. I don't know.
So I was just going to say, Gary, so we talked about Action Man. I was looking on the GI Joe page.
Oh,
yeah, some of the American equivalent of the American equivalent of the British Action Men uniforms, and they had a big. I think it was something like the 50th. Well, it couldn't have been the 50th. It was like the 45th anniversary of the GI Joe Collectors Club in America, and they released a for the show only. It was like a box with 2 Action Men. It was the Battle of Britain set. So you had like a German pilot and an RAF pilot, and then you fold it. You took the card out, and below it you had the dress uniform. For the RAF pilot and the German pilot. I'm like, wow, and that was going for about $700-800.
Ridiculous, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but all kinds of. Yeah. Sorry, go for it.
No, it's all right. I was just agreeing with you. It's brilliant.
Yeah, right, folks. I'm going to call it the night, and I would like to thank everybody for tuning in, and thank you to Rob, and for Dave, and for Mark, and Steph, and what do you call him? John.
Mark, yes.
John. Yeah. All for coming on the show tonight, folks. So if you would like to say good night.
Good night.
Good night, folks.
Check on Steph for me, will you?
I think he's coming out now to close it down for us.
Okay.
I've given him a wee message to come out to close us down for tonight, but we'll be back on Saturday from 6 to 8.
Yes.
And back on Sunday from 2 to 5. So hopefully we'll see you all then.
Yeah. Nice talking to you again anyway. It's been seems like ages we're back to work. It's a hard balance now, but I do see where you're coming from, Gary.
Yeah.
It's hard work. It's a job,
it is.
Full-time job. You've got that.
That's all it is. Yeah. So we'll just wait on staff now to come out and close us down.
Yeah. I'm gonna go and work.